During the time that I was chair, maybe towards the end of that time, I think it was Scott Slobotsky, probably with the help of Shirley White, who came to the campus with the idea of adding a theater. They remembered back in the day at the old JCC on Holmes, where they had the Residence Theater, which was very successful and very popular. And Scott thought he could fundraise to raise, I think it might have been $9 or $10 million to build this theater. It was a little bit controversial, and Scott really took the lead and did a great job funding. Shirley White wanted the theater, and she was very enthusiastic, and I think she made the lead gift, which it's now the Lewis and Shirley White Theater. But I remember there were a lot of discussions about whether the J could support that theater, but boy, Scott really beat the bushes and raised a lot of money. And as the fundraising started to snowball, it became more of a reality. I think some people were still concerned about whether the community could pay for the theater. And I remember it wasn't a long-term controversy, but I remember the community at one point said, okay, that's terrific. We'll support the building of this theater, but it can't just be the $9 or $10 million for the theater. You've got to raise $3.5 million to support the theater. You need an endowment. And I think we were pretty close to getting done with fundraising by that time, but Scott wasn't intimidated. He just went out and raised another $3.5 million, and the Galleria and the theater was built, and it was really a fabulous new chapter in the history of the JCC. I remember some of the things we talked about. It really gets granular at a board meeting. I remember the people that were on that north side of the building where the Galleria was built were going to lose all their exterior windows. So that became a meeting-long controversy. You know, did we really understand that problem was going to exist? It turned out that they've got windows now onto the Galleria, and I think their view is just fine. The other thing that I remember, I was at the time when the building was being built, part of a law firm called Smith, Gill, Fisher, and Butts, and Ed Smith was one of the leading Jewish citizens in Kansas City, and really one of the best known and most effective corporate lawyers. And he was involved in starting the foundation or chairing the foundation, very involved in Federation. And as they were raising money for the campus, Ed had an idea that he and his wife, Beth, would fund a beautiful round stained glass window that would go right at the north entrance. And it was going to be really the welcoming point to the JCC, and they were very excited, and I saw the plans, and it was beautiful. Unfortunately, as it came closer to building the building, if I recall correctly, the city of Overland Park insisted that the north entrance contain kind of a rain barrier or some sort of structure that was safety-wise a good thing, but it disrupted the view of this beautiful stained glass window. And I remember, Ed was a little disappointed. He was a community guy, so he wasn't really going to complain out loud. But I remember you didn't see that beautiful stained glass window as you drove up. But the interesting thing about the development of the Galleria was that someone had the idea that we were going to take that window intact, remove it from the north entrance, and put it at the entrance to the west, I guess, where the main theater entrance was. And today, if you walk in, it's just a beautiful window that you can see from the Galleria when the sun comes in, beautiful colors, blanket the Galleria. And Beth was still alive to see that. Ed had passed away, but I was really grateful that Beth was able to see that their gift to the community, to the campus, was being used in a really fantastic way. So that was those were my memories of building that Galleria and the theater.